Gentlemen, welcome to another video on the Longevity Strength Coach YouTube channel. My name is Paul Green, and in this video I'm going to take you through 4 things which are absolutely crucial to you getting results in the gym. Having the luxury of being able to go to the gym and actually develop your body is my aim of this video, right? There's too many people that go to the gym and they train for months, years, decades, and they don't get any results. Ask yourself this question. Are you stronger than you were 10 years ago? You should be orders of magnitude stronger than you were 10 years ago. But a lot of people stay the same. And the reason you stay the same is because you are not doing these 4 things. For those of you that have just joined, my name is Paul Green, right? Former paratrooper, PTI, and former Special Forces Support Group operator. Over the most part of my tenure, I have been in the gym training these elite units in the British Army, the Royal Marines, the RAF, and the Parachute Regiment. Obviously, they're quite elite in their physical standards. It doesn't make a difference. They still make these mistakes absolutely as regularly as a beginner in the gym. They just don't know that this is that valuable. And it's my job to go over to them, get a grip, do this, do this, do this, literally do this. These 4 things, right? I've trained thousands of men, and I'm constantly banging the drum about these 4 things. Now, I have an online coaching service called the Longevity Program, where I train men over the age of 40. I work with people that are injured, people that are beginner, people that are advanced, people that are involved in martial arts, skydivers, free runners, sprinters, all over the age of 40, because they want to get this right as they get on a bit. They want to start taking care of themselves because they've sacked it off. They've let themselves slip. They haven't been seeing results in their training. That's what the Longevity Program aims to bring back. So if you're interested in this, it's fucking unbelievable, right? Check out the links in my description and stuff like that. And feel free to book on a call with me and we can maybe get you onto the program. The plan for this today is I'm going to talk about training intensity, tracking your workouts, exercise selection and execution, and tempo. Each one of these is important. However, the first one is the most important thing. Whenever I'm training somebody, I can talk about the intricacies of what muscles we are working and the benefits that they're going to get. But fundamentally, when I look them all in the eye afterwards, I'm like, what's the most important thing? I've drummed it into them for years. The most important thing is intensity. If you're going to stand in the gym and do 50 to 60% effort on working sets, you will never get stronger. It's just a fact. You need to put the effort in, and the intensity requirement to get strong and build muscle is 90 to 95%. And what I mean by that is as soon as you've finished your set, you need to be like, was that 90 to 95% intensity? No. But why not? Every one of your working sets is 90 to 95% intensity. Of course, do warm-up sets. Do as many warm-up sets as you want. However, we all have lives. You want to be in and out of the gym and make that gym session as productive as possible. If you haven't got it in your head to go to the gym and work hard, like really hard, just don't go. It's a waste of time. Physically a waste of time. However, it may be benefiting your mental health if you go there and you just chill out, you get some movement, get some blood flow. To strengthen the muscles and strengthen the joints, you need to be training at a high intensity. Does this make sense? So bringing that to life again, I'll just highlight that point. Every time you put down the weight of a working set, you should ask yourself, was that 90 to 95% intensity? Now, the misconception of intensity versus age is that as you get older, you should reduce the intensity in which you train at. Because it's risky. Fuck off. It's bollocks. You have to train more intensely because them young little fuckers are getting results easier than you because they've got better hormones than you. You need to put in more effort than they do. Their type 2B muscle fibers aren't on the decline. Yours are. You need to put the effort in. They might get away with mincing. Does this make sense? Just for fun, right? Obviously, I'm going to rattle these 4 things off. I want to know in the comments if you are actually doing these 4 things, and I want you to put them in an order of which you would put number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. The order I've put these in here is my order, my own personal order. However, I'd be very interested to see which order you put these 4 things in your little hierarchy. Does that make sense? So please do that when the video's coming to its conclusion. Right, moving on. Next one, tracking your data. Men, I don't give a fuck how good you think your memory is. I think my memory's pretty good. But I tell you what, I don't have a clue about what I did on a hamstring curl machine 3 weeks ago. What weight I did and what reps. Why don't I remember it? Well, number 1, we only remember the things that we care about. And some movements in the gym we don't really care that much about. We've got our priority of gym movements in which we're like, oh my God, that's the most important thing ever. They are all very important. They all should be tracked. Don't track your warm-up sets. Don't care about warm-up sets. Warm-up sets are preparing you for a working set of intensity. And when you have put the effort in, right, you should be proud of yourself. Just like you'd be proud of yourself if you ran your first marathon. You'd remember your time. You'd remember the date you did it. You should be proud of yourself every time you go in the gym and display 90 to 95% intensity. Let me tell you, if you don't do it at high intensity, don't write it down. It's not worth it. Write down the exercises in which you conduct, the weight that you lift on that exercise, and the amount of repetitions in which you achieve. And this may seem like very simple, and it may seem like hassle. But trust me, after a couple of weeks of this, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of it, or let's say week number 2 of you writing down your data of your workouts, you logging your workouts, week number 2, you look back and you know exactly the weight you lifted on the previous week. You're not guessing. You know exactly what weight you lifted on a back squat. So you can do a warm-up set and you can go straight into the same weight for more reps or a little bit heavier. Do you know what I mean? So you're actually saving time. You're doing the groundwork, you're tracking your data, you're writing down your notebook, what exercises you're going to do. But as you progress, week number 2, week number 3, you write down what weight you lifted and how many reps you lifted on your previous session. So that then gives you an incentive. So when you're in the depths of a set and you want to give up, you want to go, you know what, 6 is all right, it feels all right, yeah, you know what, I've had a long day at work. You know that last week you achieved 8 reps. And in order to get stronger, you need to outperform yourself on a previous week. So there's so many benefits to doing this. That makes sense? I'll have a mouthful of this berry tea and I'll get on to the next one. Right, the next thing, gentlemen, is movement selection. I'm also going to touch on execution on this slide as well. Now, we are all different. We're all different shapes, sizes. We all have different strength levels. But the movements we select should generally follow the same theme. We should prioritize movements that have a full range of motion. And what this means is, for example, probably one of the most common movements in the gym of all ages is the deadlift. You know, people will go in the gym, they'll get a bit of a sweat and they'll do some deadlifts. Deadlifts doesn't work any of your joints through a full range of motion. It works your knee joint at about half of its range of motion. It works a hip joint at about half its range of motion. And it puts a lot of stress on your lower back. It's all good, it's okay, right? It's okay. It's a very average movement. However, if it doesn't work your joints through its full range of motion, your joints are missing out on 40, 50% of the strength gain. And then you can literally think to yourself, do I put my knees through its full range of motion when I'm in the gym? Do I put my hips through the full range of motion when I'm at the gym? Do I put my shoulders through their full range of motion? Do I put my elbows through their full range of motion? Do the exercise in which I select do this? If they don't, and you have joint pain, there's no wonder why you have joint pain, because your joints are not strong because you're doing half reps. But then you could come back to me and say, yeah, but I'm tighter, I haven't got the mobility. Okay, I can give you that. I can empathise with you. I'm really, I think I am, fairly unflexible. So then you need to choose exercises in which choose exercises that are easier, that allow you to get into the deeper ranges of motion. I'm going to bring this to life with a video on YouTube. I'm just going to bring that exact point to life. If you cannot squat all the way down and you've got some dickhead on the internet saying, do full range of motion, but you can't because you can only go halfway down because you've got tight ankles and you've got tight hips, whatever it might be. Okay, what do? Well, this is what you do. You make the exercise fit your limitations in order to get your main joints strong. Prioritize range of motion, not ego lifting. When you're in the gym and you want to squat a certain amount of weight, you want to go in the gym and you want to, look, this machine, by me stepping forward, takes the requirement for ankle mobility out of the equation. And by me maintaining a fully vertical torso, means there is no stress on my lower back. What am I prioritizing on this exercise, gentlemen? I'm prioritising full range of motion of the knee joint. I want my knees to get strong. Thank you very much. I couldn't give a fuck about going over here and doing a back squat and going 3/4 of the way down. That is me missing out on 25% of the strength gains of the knee joint. I want my knees to get fully strong. Thank you very much. Does that make sense? So have a look at your exercises. Obviously, I don't know the exercise in which you're doing, but really have a good look at your exercise and think, can I make these exercises easier to allow a greater range of motion? And trust me, a few weeks of that, your joints will be thanking you. Oi, oi, oi. Go back one. Okay. I've talked about that, and I haven't waffled for once in my life. The last point, just to wrap up this slide. You will never have perfect technique. Perfection is, it's not achievable. However, if every time you go in the gym and you do one rep of a movement, and every time you buy some healthy food and consume that healthy food or buy some supplements, that's an investment in yourself. If you aspire to perform each repetition you do in the gym with perfect technique, and you actively seek new ways to just slightly tweak the movement in order to get a little bit better, wouldn't that be a productive thing to do? So, you will never have perfect technique, but you should aspire to have perfect technique. It's a very productive thing to do. You care about your body. Obviously, you care about your body. And I'm not saying that you, age 63, your version of perfect is not going to be the same as a 17-year-old bloke. It's not going to be the same. It doesn't matter, because we all have individual differences. They haven't worked 20 years of their life on their hands and knees in and out of buildings and stuff like that. They haven't got limitations. However, Just because you have limitations just means that your start point is a little bit different to theirs. You can absolutely get your mobility and strength way beyond. I'm trying to compare you to other people, but I want you to compare yourself to yourself previously. So individual differences, prioritize range of motion. And okay, I'm not a complete nerd that says, all right, every exercise you do should have full range of motion. Most exercises should prioritize as full of a range of motion as possible. Now, there's going to be exercises where that doesn't happen, and that's absolutely fine. But the problem is, if you don't prioritize range of motion and you're doing half reps all the time, your joints are going to become ridiculously stiff, and it's just going to cause huge dramas. Men, the priority of the longevity program is to strengthen your joints, right? And as we're getting on a bit, it should be every man's priority to strengthen your joints. The only way you're going to do that is if you work the joint fully. If I said I'm going to strengthen my elbows, however, I'm only going to do this. I'm only going to do half reps. You think that's acceptable? So why is everybody doing it with squats and deadlifts and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean? Is that point made? Cool. Tempo. Tempo is how fast or how slow you perform each repetition on your working sets. Why is this important? Gentlemen, this is important because we don't just have one muscle contraction. We have 3 muscle contractions. We have the lengthening of the target muscle, we have the shortening of the target muscle, and we have the muscle when it is staying completely the same length, but staying active. 3 muscle contractions. The one that gains the most strength and muscle size is the eccentric muscle contraction, which is the lengthening part of the repetition. Typically, people prioritize, on a bicep curl, people will prioritize this movement here. They will prioritize the shortening of the bicep because that's when the bicep looks big. However, the bicep gets big when it is doing this under control. But the joints get strong when the full range of motion is locked in and there's a pause at the end of the rep. All of this collectively is tempo. The shortening of the muscle, the lengthening of the muscle, and when you choose to pause. If you're on the longevity program, you are told to pause just for a second at the hardest part of the repetition. And that may change to the top, to the bottom, depending on what exercise you do. Anyway, this is important because if you go to the gym and don't consider this, it means that your joints start taking a lot more of the impact of the movements in which you're doing. For example, if you were doing a flat bench press in the gym and you're just going, yeah, whatever, I'm just going to do this as fast as I can. There's no control. There's no care for your joints. Yeah, you're doing full range of motion, but you're just going absolutely mental. Dangerous, right? And there is no, listen, I have blokes on the athleticism block of my training program that are doing exactly that, but they've earned the right to get there. So you have to start, if you haven't done this already, you have to start sooner rather than later. Again, it's all about the joints. It's all about strengthening the joints. Tempo. So what should you do? You should do 3 seconds on the way down. 1, 2, 3. At the bottom, which is at the bottom of your limit of range of motion, I don't care about somebody else's range of motion, your range of motion where you feel the maximum stretch, the maximum range of motion of your shoulders, the maximum range of motion of your knees at that point in time. Pause for a second at the hardest part of the rep. Squeeze for a second at the lengthened position. That's going to strengthen your joints in areas in which you avoid. So think about it. You're just going to go like this. Boom! You're going to skyrocket your gains. And then 1 second to return back to the start position. So every rep, 3 seconds on the way down, 1 second pause, 1 second back. Every rep takes 5 seconds. And this is, it's hard. When you're not used to doing this, it's hard. However, you will feel your muscles working way better than you probably ever have done. And what is absolutely awesome about this is you can actually, week by week, month by month, you can actually start to feel your joints getting stronger. And over a quick turnaround period, you'll start to notice that your joints are less and less in pain. Do you know what I mean? And it's collectively these points, very important points, these, man. This is probably one of the most important videos I've ever done. And I'm constantly trying to outdo myself. Right, anyway, get my face out of the way. Just concluding thoughts. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or, you know, an elite athlete, advanced in the gym world, like I said there, paratroopers, Royal Marines, Special Forces, pretty elite individuals. I've worked with people that aren't elite, overweight. Doesn't make a difference to me. These 4 fundamental things are the first thing I'm implementing in your training program. The intensity in which you train needs to be hard. If you avoid intensity, you will avoid the ability to get strong. You will avoid the ability to gain muscle. The movements in which you are doing, if you avoid full range of motion, you avoid the ability to get strong joints. Execution, if you don't give a fuck about your technique, you're going to be like a bull in a china shop. You're just not gonna smoothly make improvements. You might make improvements some weeks, and then some other weeks you might not make improvements. Dial it all down, and then tempo, the speed in which you perform each rep. This should start pretty slow for a few months. People on longevity program on the fundamentals block 12 weeks. They're doing 3 seconds on the way down, 1 second pause, 1 second return back to that. Every single rep is 5 seconds for 12 weeks in the gym. And then after that, the next 12 weeks, the tempo changes. Because they've earned the right. The joints are now strong, and now we need to improve the resilience of the joints. So getting the fundamental joint strength is ridiculously important. And then we build on that. This matters so much. And if you don't do this, absolutely fine. Your results will be like this. You know, it might go up a little bit and then it'll just stay the same. If you do all 4 of these things, honestly, please let me know in the comments, because your results will just be insane. Insane. Trust me, the amount of results I'm getting on the program, and the amount of results I'm getting myself by literally focusing on these 4 things. But yeah, this is where I've really established these basics, is on the fundamental 12-week block of the longevity program. Yeah, then it progresses, but I'm not going to talk about that. Because, cool story, bro. Conclusion, training intensity. Nobody gets anything for free. You don't go to the gym and just friggin' wing it. Pick any exercises you want. Train at 50% intensity. Feel a little bit of blood in one of your muscles. Go in the sauna and think you're getting anywhere. The only thing that's doing is improving your mental health, which, granted, is a very, very important thing to be looking to do. But while you're in there, you might as well get the strength of the muscles and the strength of the joints in a really good place as well. If you don't, it's going to catch up with you. You're on a time limit. If you don't do this, you're putting yourself on a time limit. The downward spiral is underway. And if you avoid this for whatever excuses you've got, and if you've got excuses for reasons why you can't do this, put them in the comments. Put them in the comments. And even typing them out, you're probably going to delete them afterwards thinking, you know what? I'm just being a pussy. Man, I'm harsh on you because I fucking care. Exercises, notebook. Write down the exercises in which you do. Do the same exercises every week. Maybe change 1 or 2 every few weeks. Max. Write the weight you lift. If you change the exercises which you do every single week, how are you ever going to get stronger muscles and stronger joints. Because it's keeping it fresh. Your body's not going to get strong because there's a new stimulus. It's going to get strong like that, then it's going to get strong. No, that's bollocks. That's CrossFit. Crap. CrossFit's okay for other reasons. That'll be a separate video, right? The weight that you lift, the reps in which you achieve. When we want to improve the strength of our joints, men, CrossFit, see you in a bit. When we want to dial down the fundamentals, we do this. And then we can, by all means, after a few months of this, we can start to introduce some crazy workouts that get us jumping, running around, sprinting. Do you know what I mean? The exercise selection, men, I want you to get this right. It's so important. So important. Range of motion should be the most of your full range of motion exercises. So if you don't know what full range of motion exercises are based off your flexibility levels, then just find ways. How can I improve the range of motion of my squat? Google. And then it'll be elevate your heels. Do it on a Smith machine. And you should have that mentality across every exercise. Do you know what I mean? And it's the only way your muscles and your joints are going to collectively get friggin' strong. Execution. Aspire to have perfect execution. But pride yourself in your execution as well. You know, you're in the gym, look left and right. Who's got better technique? And it's not a competition. It's not a shallow competition. But all it is, it's just you caring that extra little bit about every millisecond in which you're in the gym. Because you're in full control. When you're in the gym, you are in full control of the variables. Full control of the variables. Wouldn't it be powerful if you benefited from every second you were in the gym? And the only way you do that is if you get these 4 things right. Gentlemen, if you made it to this point of the video, thank you very much for your time. 27 minutes of time that you're not going to get back. Hopefully it was useful, yeah. I care about this stuff. I care about you. If you enjoyed it, let us know. Like, subscribe to the channel. I'm posting this stuff regularly. So yeah, that's it from me, boys. See you in a bit.